We're just gonna take a break for just a minute. I'll just go talk to him real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was quick. We got it going.
Jeff got it?
Yep, we're all set.
Hold on, Jeff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, Tina.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is for a moment of silence for Rosemary Miller, Councilman Miller's mother, Charles Talmadge, who is Officer Talmadge's father, and also for all those who have lost their lives to the COVID-19 virus.
Thank you.
Item number 1 is to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second, Howard.
Any questions or changes? Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries. The next item on the agenda is 2A, which is regular meeting of May 19th, 2020.
Move to approve. Support.
Any questions, changes? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries. Now it's time for public questions regarding items on the agenda. I did not have anything emailed to me or any messages from the public that I had.
Is there anybody in the attendees tonight that would like to speak at this time? If you do, please raise your hand. The box is at the bottom. To raise your hand if you would like to speak.
Okay.
Okay. Nobody. Go ahead and move the agenda. Thank you.
Item number 3 is ordinance and amendments. 3A being first reading of ordinance 2020-02 to provide for a service charge in lieu of taxes for Wayne Towers owner National Church residences.
Good evening, Mayor.
Hold on one second. We got to get
Motion and support, please. Already
Did we
motion.
Did we get a motion?
Motion
I
approved.
Made a motion.
I missed that.
I did too. Can we do that again?
Who was the motion maker?
I was Mayor Pro Tem.
Berger.
I'll support it.
Thank you. Mayor?
Okay, Ms. Goen?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I bring before you this evening a request on behalf of National Church Residences, the owners of Wayne Towers. I believe Joe Hewitt, representative from National Church Residences, is on the phone with us this evening. I'd like to start out by explaining what this request is. This is similar to what we did for Atwood Gardens in the sense that it is called a pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes. This program has been in at Wayne Towers since 1972. The city of Wayne has participated with them over the last, well, like I said, since 1972. The earnings have been significant in the sense that they're paying 10% of 95% of their revenues. So you're looking at an average of anywhere from $80,000 to $90,000 a year in payments they are making to the city. They are proposing a new pilot, renewing their pilot to receive same thing, 10% we would get of 95% of the total rent charges. And they'd like to extend the pilot for a period of 35 years. The request is being made as they are looking at refinancing their property. They're looking at investing $590,000 of improvements into Wayne Towers, which is something that I'm sure all the residents will appreciate. Mayor, if Mr. Hewitt is on the phone, could we please give him permission to address the council this evening? It would be out of state area code.
Yep, Mr. Hewitt, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, this request is in part of a preservation. It was a tax credit property. I'm also joined by our counsel who's been advising us on the Sheldon Winkelman and the asset manager, Mandy Allen. So we have a presence here. This is an important project for us. It's through the compliance period or close to being through the tax credit compliance period. And one of the challenges that these mature properties face is how to recapitalize them. And Mandy's done a great job in putting together a structure to refinance the project and put those proceeds back into the project for future capital needs. And it has been somewhat operationally challenged, my understanding, over the years, but we've been able to manage it pretty well, and I believe the residents would appreciate the capital needs.
Mayor Racy, if I could.
Yes.
This is the first reading. The second reading adoption would be at your next meeting if approved tonight on June 16th.
Okay. Do we need to unmute the other people? Do they need to say anything, or are we good?
No, this is just a first reading, Mayor.
No, I'm just saying, but there's two other people from the group here. Do you want me to have them unmuted? I could see Mr. Winkelman, but I'm not sure which one the other person is.
If Mr. Hewitt doesn't feel it's necessary, I think he summed everything up very well.
Okay, okay. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure everybody
Thank
had, okay. Any questions from council?
Mayor, I have one. Just so I have a clear understanding, this is going to continue to be a LIHTC program? By extending.
Yes, it will be. It's through the compliance period, but there's an extended use agreement. So, excuse me, we will still charge the restricted rents, which are some factor below market rents. So it will still continue to be affordable and still offer affordable rents to the residents.
That's wonderful. I worked for a LIHTC property for over 5 years, so I know the value of what this offers, especially senior citizens. So I'm excited to hear that that's going to be continued.
Yeah, great.
Councilman Skiff?
Thank you. Yes, I just had a few questions. I was wondering if the total projected to be paid amount is based on 100% vacancy. I'm sorry, 100%, vacancy and completely filled. And also I wanted to know if you could give us an idea of some of the things that you would be upgrading, the improvements that are going to be made.
Sure. Let me look at that. The rents are based not on 100% vacancy. They're based on I want to say a 95% occupancy.
Okay, that's what I meant. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's certainly it's fine. And then Mandy, can you help out with some of the projects that are going to be that are going to be done capital needs wise. I don't have that off the top of my head. And I know Mandy's been doing a ton of the work, and quite frankly, I'm honestly stepping in. Mandy's done the lion's share of the work. And she was recently back from medical leave. And so I've been filling in her absence. And Mandy would be better able to answer the questions on the capital needs that we're planning.
You happen to know what the last 2 digits of her phone number is?
She dialed in the Zoom. She got in on the 74. Her area code 740.
Okay, I see her. Mandy,
Hello,
is that
everybody.
you?
Yes, this is me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for taking this into consideration. Wayne Tower has been long in my portfolio and very near and dear to my heart, and our seniors as well. I'm really excited that we were able to find a way to structure this. The property has been challenged. We do have a lot of capital needs. We will be investing for site work. We will be making it ADA compliant, as well as other, setting it up for a future LIHTC as well to truly go in and fully rehab. And again, it will be affordable for our seniors. They'll still get the affordability, but we will be able to make the improvements we haven't been able to make to date. Is that enough?
Councilman Skiff, is that enough? You're good?
Mayor, if I may,
Yep, Councilman Dowd?
it looks like the last time anybody looked at this agreement was 37 plus years ago. I just want to confirm that our council, Mr. Bosnick's office, has had a chance to look at the agreement and make sure it's equitable for the city as well.
Mayor
Yes.
Racy? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Bosnick. I'm sorry. I
Yes, we
apologize.
have. Yes, we have.
Thank you.
Ms. Goen, did you have something more? Or?
No, I forgot Mr. Bosnick was on the line. I apologize. I was just going to say it was forwarded to him for approval.
Anybody else with any questions?
Mayor Racy, I think this is great to hear this new capital investments being made into that for the residents. Who will be overseeing those capital improvements and repairs made? And it states that it'll be within the 20 and 21 cycle. Is it possible for us to get a list of what we anticipate to see for those residents, the improvements?
Yeah, can you hear Amanda Allen still?
Yes. Yep, you're there.
Okay, great. We are getting a HUD loan, so a lot of this will be in part overseen by HUD and approved through HUD. We will have a general contractor on site as well. So any draws or anything towards the improvements on the property will go through those sources as well as internal approvals. We can certainly get you a list of what we plan to do with the proceeds from this loan and where we plan to invest in the next 5 years to really bring this property back up to speed. So we can get you something over by the next meeting.
Thank you, and I do appreciate that.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. And we appreciate you coming and talking to us about this. And we'll go through the vote, but the property, that'll be great if we can see that property improve and make it better for the residents that are over there for sure. So with that, Tina can go ahead and do a roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries. Item number 4 is appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. 4A being reappointments of Ed Queen and Catherine Sample to the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority for for a 2-year term to expire June of 2022.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4B is appointment of Abe Charhauer to the Downtown Development Authority for a 4-year term to expire in June 2024.
Move to approve.
Support, Dowd.
Ms. Goen, could you give us a little bit of background, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Very excited. A member of the community, a business community, has indicated an interest in serving. Abe Charhauer is the Vice President of Lower Huron Janitorial Supply. He's also happens to be the son-in-law of Mr. Palladino, Mark Palladino, who's invested heavily in our community over the years. Mark has set a great example for Abe. Abe has started to invest in the city. He recently bought the former building and engineering building with his company, Charhauer Investments. So we're absolutely thrilled to have him as a new member of the DDA board, and I appreciate your consideration in this appointment.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 5A is revenue and expenditure report for period ending April 2020.
Receive and file.
Item number 6, general items. 6A is acceptance of the Michigan Department of Treasury Revenue Sharing and Grants Division Grant Award for replacement of critical IT infrastructure, creating cost savings and improving efficiency citywide in the amount of $296,756.
Move to approve.
Support.
Oh,
It's a good one.
yeah.
Any questions on this?
Yes, just so everyone else knows, who wrote the grant so that we could get this money?
Mayor, may I through the chair?
Sure.
This one was particularly a team effort. And just so, it started with and thank you for letting me give a little background because this is very important. This started with the council approving the contract after we did the bid for cybersecurity and IT infrastructure. When the Plant Moran team came in and did that full-blown assessment, we found that, obviously we were very vulnerable and most of if not all of our infrastructure is over a decade old. Jeff has been doing a fantastic job trying to keep things together, basically taping things together is a good word for it. The biggest piece in this was the requirement for the city to switch our phone system by next year. I think they've extended it a little bit, but to a 911 accessible system, meaning that you have to have, every phone has to have an ability to have 911 access in the building so that when you do call 911, they know exactly where they can pinpoint you within a matter of feet. So that is a requirement from the state. That is a $77,000 project on its own that is going to be covered. So the city, with Plant Moran's help, there's no way that I can take full credit for this entire grant because this had a lot of technical aspects to it. So I want to thank Jeff and I want to thank Chris Blau and the Plant Moran team for all of their help. I wrote all the narratives. They wrote all of the pieces to make sense with regards to the technology aspect and how it all fits and glues together, basically, that you can't do one piece without another piece without another piece. So I just, thank you for asking that. This was a full-blown team effort. The city is 5 for 5 now as far as receiving fiscally distressed grants. And we have, I'm really excited for this because $296,000 is going to change the entire landscape of the IT infrastructure for the city. So thank you for your anticipated support.
Wagner.
Yeah, and just one more question. When this finally starts happening, are we going to be able to move the, I don't know if you call it the mainframe of the phone system from old City Hall, which is now the court building, to the current City Hall, or has that not been addressed yet?
Jeff and I talked about that. The most feasible place to move is to the police department. The reason being is that the police department is a place that actually is accessible to Jeff and IT, and it's in a secure area. So we felt that made the most sense, and there is space for that.
Great.
Mayor AC,
Yes, Councilman Miller.
I think it's important to let the residents know that this whole entire project is being paid through this grant. I think that's pretty amazing and wonderful, quite frankly. It's a lot of money there, and it's going to make a lot of changes for us here. And I have to say thank you enough for all the ones that participated in making this happen. My question would be is, how soon will this all be implemented? Will this take over a period of time? Or what do we expect to see here in the near future?
I don't know if Jeff can speak to this, Mayor. Is he available?
Yes. I don't know if he can speak from where he's at.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
What I will say is this: is that the grant does have a 2-year expiration. We have a grant for 2 years. So Jeff is expecting to start immediately, but each process is going to be step by step, so that each piece works in the puzzle. That's the best way I can explain it, as not being a technology person. But we do have plenty of time to both make sure we do the right bidding, that we have the right specs, that we have the right technology. And I think that because the blueprint is there, this will be a pretty, it'll be a heavy endeavor for Jeff and the team, but it will absolutely be put together correctly. And I think we will have an ability for our technology to really shine for another decade or so, and hopefully further.
Through the chair, I also want to point out that I appreciate you also including all the language that relates to this grant, and people can see, or at least we can see, just how much work takes into putting this grant together. A lot of information needs to be gathered and to be able to apply for this, and I appreciate you including that in our packet.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, Councilman Dowd.
I see it's indicated on the first page. Next step is with an effect, a date of July 20th. Any concerns on what you have to accomplish and meeting by before that time, July 20th?
No, through the chair, all we have to have in is, you'll see the 2 original signed copies of the grant agreement and the board resolution that you're intending to pass this evening. That's it. And then there are 4 reporting time frames that Jeff is going to be working on. And so, no, that's all we're doing tonight. And that's the only 2 requirements at this time, Councilman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Yep. Mayor Pro Tem.
So I had a comment from a resident that it's really great to have all these grants for all this extra, I guess, stuff. And I want to explain, this sort of piggybacks on what Councilman Miller said. This is paying for the whole kit and caboodle, as we used to call it. And not only that, this is something that if we didn't have this grant, we would have to pull money out of the general fund. We absolutely have to have the phone system updated. It's a requirement of the state. We have to do it. And also, I would have been one to step forward and say, we need to at least get firewalls and get security in place. And that would have had to have come out of the general fund. So this isn't just free money floating down for some whatever you want to call it. It's something that is necessary, and it's something that I thank the whole team for doing this. It was great. This amount of money is just fantastic, and to finance this whole thing, thank you.
Mayor, may I add one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, absolutely. And I will tell you that, I was just looking at the background, but I will tell you that the state told me the other day on a phone call that this was a perfectly well-written grant, from top to bottom. And we did get the second highest amount in the state, as far as this grant opportunity. And just so you're aware, these are just a couple of the things that, just to give a little bit more to this credence, the firewall is, is $14,000. The telephone system is $74,500. A fiber optic upgrade is $30,000. To switch the network switches is $7,876. Building permits software for efficiencies is $44,000. And then wiring at the public works, cameras, doors, access, fuel system controllers, for better efficiency, $73,000. Those are some big ticket items that you're correct. We would have had to either pass by and continue being inefficient, or replace altogether. Every single one of these, there's others in there too. But we're also going to be able to upgrade to Windows Server. We're going to Microsoft Office 365. I mean, those are things that we're way behind on. Microsoft Office 365 is $31,000 just to do that. So we're going to be in this decade, which is awesome. And I know that I told Jeff his day is coming, and his day has certainly come, and now he's going to be busier than ever. So, but it's a good thing. But just to give an idea, that's a lot of money that we were $296,000. We were not going to be able to find anytime soon. So we would have had to pass on a lot of this critical infrastructure and potentially be out of compliance with 911. So thank you.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Skiff.
I just had a comment. I just wanted to also thank those who worked hard on this. I know that when the assessment was presented to council, personally myself, when I heard that people's private information could potentially be hacked, and and just the what it could mean to the city if that happened. I got to be honest with you. I was, that I was frightened for that to happen. It is why I voted yes for the assessment, to pay for the assessment, to go ahead and get that done. And I just really want to thank you, everybody that was involved in this, for making this happen, because it just makes me feel like that, it just validates that I did the right thing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I just wanted to say thank you, Lisa, and everybody on the team on this. Lisa knows this is something I've been talking to her for a long time, that we needed to look at these types of things to get us updated. I've been very concerned about these systems for a long time. I did talk to CWW. They were very excited to hear that we are going to be able to take care of the phone system, because that complies with the 911 stuff for sure. But this is a huge step forward for our community, and it's something that is long overdue, and it's going to help us to be technologically able to provide better service to our residents, I think, in the long run, which I think that's what we're all here for, is to serve the community. So I want to thank the state for to actually to award this grant to us, because we definitely needed it, and it's very appreciated. So with that, a roll call on that.
We lost Councilman Wagner.
Yep, we did. So do we just go ahead and vote? Will it matter? Just the one vote, or should we try to wait a second?
Is he on the phone?
Still shows there, but he's not. Oh, he dropped off again.
Having technical difficulties.
Yeah, he said his iPad won't charge. He's having problems with his iPad.
Can he do it from his phone? Call in, just as a call in?
can he place a vote over the phone?
Sure, you did that, Tony, remember?
He's got to call in though. You got to hear it. Do we want to take a 2-minute recess till we get him back, or do we want to go ahead and move the agenda?
Let's respect him and give him 2 minutes to get back on.
Okay.
There he is.
While we're waiting,
There he is.
okay.
Sorry about that. I'm having technical problems.
Okay. So you're there just with no video?
You can't see me?
Nope.
Ah, geez. I am really sorry about all this.
Are you fine with just being able to hear?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and move the agenda. We just got to just speak out if when you need to.
Okay. I voted yes on that if you needed me
Yeah, I'm gonna do the roll call
We didn't do the
now.
roll call. We waited
Okay.
for you.
to. Okay.
Okay, so we're ready for the roll call then?
Yes.
This is to approve the FDC VT grant. Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes,
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes,
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Double yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 6B is approval of the professional services agreement with Stantec Incorporated of Ann Arbor, Michigan for the O&M of the EQ basin and the stormwater management services for a period commencing on July 1st, 2020 and ending on June 30th, 2021, along with biennial reporting to the state for a total amount not to exceed $41,500 funded through the 2020-2021 Water and Sewer Fund. Who was the support? I have a motion by Webster, supported by,
support.
yeah.
Mr. Byton, do you want to talk to us about this?
Sure,
Mike,
am
is
I on?
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is Stantec's 23rd year of maintaining the system for us. This is an older system now, but because of the challenging times the city of Wayne is facing, they continue to keep their price the same, and they're doing an excellent job of maintaining this system for us. There may be times in the future where we need to have some maintenance done on this basin, but for right now, they're doing a very effective job at keeping this basin running for us well.
Okay. Any questions from council?
Mr. Biden, if I may, did they give you any indication what is the going rate that they would be charging a municipality for this type of service?
So, not sure how to answer that.
Well, they say they're keeping our prices the same. Are we getting, they gave me an indication that, how nice they're being to us?
We know through engineering and talking to other consulting engineers that they're keeping their prices very low for us.
Okay.
The exact savings amount, I don't have a number for that.
Okay, just curious.
Yes.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, there's an additional charge on this, an option, I assume, where it does clerical work regarding the paperwork on this. It's not to exceed, and I'm trying to find a piece of paper. I thought it was about $8,000 or $6,000 additional.
There should not be any additional charge to this. It's capped at the number that was provided for you. There was some allotment in there. You'll notice that there was a biennial service. This is an off year for the biennial service. However, NDEQ has some auditing requirements that they were requesting of us at the time that this was being written. Currently, the state seems to be satisfied with our response. So it looks like we may be able to spend less than what's in this amount, but there is a provision for a response to MDOT's audit if they continue to request more information.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate your explanation there.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
For the chair. Mr. Biden, you had mentioned that you thought that there was some things that may come up with this. Is there something in particular you were referring to, or is this just because of the age of it, you feel like something will happen in the future with it?
No, these are requirements that the state places on municipalities that we have to keep up with. They're broad requirements. They put out 4 different items that we had to respond to. We responded to all 4 items, and they seem to be satisfied at the moment. So, again, this is more regarding the NPDS permit, this other portion. So the NPDS is being tied into the EQ Basin O&M, but they're slightly different things there. So those components, even though they're lumped together, are a little bit different. And the portion that we're talking about, this variable, has to do with stormwater. So EQ O&M is sanitary. And so Stantec provides services for both, combining those together. And the variable one is the part of the stormwater. Again, I think we've satisfied the state based on the last email we received from them. But this was happening at a time where we were coming to you. It was still in flux. And even though we think we've satisfied the state with our audit, we wanted to have that amount in there, and certainly they will be able to deduct that amount if that's not needed.
Councilman Skiff?
You know, it's okay. My question was answered. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor Racy, one other question is the improvements they're making with the sewer system over here off of Merriman Road in Michigan. Is that in any relationship with that basin that's nearby? Is that going to improve? What is that going, is there any relationship between those 2 projects? Or that project and the basin itself?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the project that Councilman Miller is referring to would be a water main project, and it's a very large water main project. It's a transmission line. So that project is actually being done by the Great Lakes Water Authority for their larger purposes. That won't affect the EQ basin and its sanitary function.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries. Item 6C is approval of the purchase of a sewer camera and the vehicle to accommodate in the amount of $151,110.43, less $20,000 MMRMA grant for the total cost to the city of $131,110.43, funded through the sewer account.
Move to approve.
Support.
Second.
Mr. Queen? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yeah, so just like it says, it's a new sewer camera that we're looking to purchase. Our and a vehicle that it will be outfitted for that. They do a build out, and then the equipment will be installed inside a Ford Transit high top van. And then it has all the computer equipment and everything needed for us to do our televising of the sewer system. Currently, our old one I believe a 2008, I think I said in our email. It's older, as well as the landscaping trailer that we have it in, which isn't, it's made for those types of things, but the comfort level a lot of times too, trying to pull that around with a generator and everything else that goes with that. So this will be a excellent purchase for the city for us to continue to do those types of sewer televising and cleaning and everything that's mandated by the state as well.
Any questions?
Mayor, I just have one question, just clarification on language.
Yes.
I noticed in the letter, it says to be paid out of the sewer account, more specifically, water and sewer fund.
Yeah, it's the one and the same. The water sewer fund is where that is usually paid out of, but mainly it's a sewer piece of equipment.
Any other questions? Councilman Wagner?
Thank you. Just a small question. So this purchase of a new vehicle is going to be put through water and sewer. Has it been factored in the additional cost of insurance for this vehicle? I'm assuming we're going to have to pay more insurance on a vehicle than we are a trailer.
The chair?
Yes.
The city has a blanket coverage plan, so it's not going to cost that much more.
Okay, great.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Through the chair, I have a few questions. Is the vehicle, what is the separate price of that vehicle from the camera itself? So how much is the camera actually? I did try to picture my mind what this camera would look like, and I went online and I was trying to get a scope of the reason why it is so expensive. I realize it's a real important necessity for us, but at the same time, I'm wondering is how I wish I had a picture to see what it looked like, so I can kind of grasp the reason why it's cost over 100,000, or does it over 100,000? Because I can't determine if that's because it's included part of the vehicle, the van, as well as the camera itself. And how far does this reach into the system? Is there a warranty on this? Those are just some of the questions I'd like to ask.
Yeah, so basically the camera equipment itself, I think, is probably about I was looking at about 100,000. The van itself is about 20 to 30,000, but then with the build out and everything they have to do on there, it actually goes up from there. Another, I think, $15,000, the van, and then they have to put all the software and everything else into it as well, and computers that go with this camera to be able to document all the information that we're televising. And then also when you say how far the reach, usually I think it's about 1,000 feet of cable. And usually the segments of sewer that we clean sometimes can go anywhere from 300 feet, 500 feet, 600 feet. And we'll go from one manhole to the next. So it's it's a camera on a tractor is what it is. You can visualize that. And it ranges anywhere from 6 inches to 36 inches that it can get into the sewer system. It actually has this particular, it comes as a combo set is what it is. It has a larger camera tractor system as well as a smaller tractor system. So it's almost like two pieces that you're getting for this price, because in the past when we've used these cameras, we've had two setups, they call it, with a smaller pipe camera to go into smaller piping, and then a larger one you have to change the wheels and everything else on this camera system as you go into bigger piping. But at points throughout our careers here when we've been doing this, when one of the systems had gone down, we still had the other camera system. So it's like almost two cameras in one. And so while one was being repaired, we were still able to continue on with our televising and cleaning of maybe the smaller piping or the larger in the reverse, depending on which camera may have been in for repairs at that time. So it was helpful in that aspect as well, that it doesn't shut us down completely if for some reason the camera had to go in for repairs. So it's a very expensive piece of equipment. We did look around on all the sites, Sourcewell, CoPro, and also MyDeal to see, and this was the best option for us to purchase this one here as far as price and what we were needed and everything for the televising of the sewer system.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
two questions. What's the if approved, what's the reality to getting this equipment in hand for the city to use? How much time before we'll see it? And secondly, what are we going to do with the vehicle and also the camera, the system that we currently own?
The lead time on this particular piece, what was it? I believe it was like only a couple of months. We would have it pretty quickly once if it's approved tonight. We would turnaround time for them. They already had said that they would have, because he's been the build out part would probably be the part that takes the longest for them to just install it. The actual company is called Q's, that they are together, MTech and Q's. We actually have a Q system right now, and so what we currently have, some of the files and things that we have will blend in with this new system that we have. But the Q's will be building that out, and normally the build out on some of these things would be more expensive through Q's, but MTech had already agreed that said that the Q's would do that build out at no extra cost to us, of what MTech had already quoted us. So the lead time is just a couple of months, I believe, down the road. What was the other part you'd asked me there about
the vehicle and then the camera system we currently own?
Right. The other part is just a landscaping trailer that we currently have. It had a generator on it. We had to replace that generator at one point, which we could actually use the generator for something else. The landscaping trailer will probably keep to assist us with other functions of equipment that we can haul around. The camera itself, we can maybe look to kind of see if we can somehow get a trade in, or maybe sell that on the side, because it is pretty beat up. Over the years, we've spent several $1,000s 3 to 4 times a year sending it out for repairs, because it's just an older piece of equipment. I think it was 12 years old, the other camera. So we are going to look in that option if we can't offload it that way and get some money back for it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Through the chair, if I could ask, do you have any idea how much the camera that we have now cost us then 12 years ago?
I don't have that in front of me, but I can actually get that information for you if you'd like at some point. I don't remember what we paid for the other one and the trailer and everything.
I did kind of look into try to compare on other cameras, and I was trying to figure out why we need to spend this kind of money for this kind of a camera. I mean, I saw some comparably, like you explained about the distance, they were around $10,000. But then you mentioned that this camera has dual cameras. Can you kind of explain the reason why this one, is necessary for us, and why it is so much more expensive than, say, what I found online?
I'm not sure you may have found online at $10,000, but there is no camera out there that's going to do This is a tractor system. Like I said, the ones you may have been like a push through camera, which we own one of those as well, but that's more for like a sewer clean out at somebody's home or clean outs that may have been on their front lawn. And it's like a 2-inch camera head. And then it's just a cable, maybe a couple 100 feet of cable that you would push through by hand on a reel. So we own one of those too. And yes, those are about $12,000-$15,000 for one of those as well. But that's not for mainline televising. All the cities and communities around have probably, like Westland has a much larger step van than this transit that we would like to purchase. And it's pretty big. The outfit they have and all the installation of everything that they have for the camera system. So it's not this, what you may be looking at might be a push through. It's just a manual that we have one of those, like I said, that you just push through a clean out to maybe see if it's on the outside of a house. Sometimes we've used it to assist a homeowner if they had a sewer backup. But it's not for mainline televising. The cameras for mainline televising are well up into the $90,000, $100,000 range.
One other question follow-up is, first of all, is it against any of our union contracts in contracting this service out in the city? And if not, how much would that be to contract it out? Is that owning the equipment?
Contracting it out, we did that in the past, and the city chose to move to, because we used to do televising and cleaning, but then you have to supply manpower to watch over a contractor to make sure that all this is getting done properly. The city moved years ago to purchasing our own Vector, purchasing the camera equipment and everything. And so this is now one of our tasks that, yes, so, it may, as far as union, because you'd be taking a union job away from the union that has been in-house for quite a long time now. And most communities have gone that route where they're doing their own televising because it's required annually, mandated by the state, where we keep up on it. We're constantly doing some sort of maintenance on the sanitary sewer system.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Mr. Queen, is this similar to the system that they did for the slip lining?
Yes. And so what happens is those contractors will televise and clean the system before they put a liner in a lot of times to assist them. So they actually do that as well. They'll do this portion of the job before they put a liner in to look at the condition of the pipe.
Okay. And how long are these videos normally when you take and shoot these?
What do you mean, how long? Doing time frame?
Yeah. Just varies.
That I can't remember. I mean, I used to do it when I was out on the road. You shoot 300 feet. Sometimes it takes, you have to, the videos themselves might take maybe, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes, for maybe 300 feet. Because what you're doing is you're going in and televising, and then the camera has a rotating head that can look at every service lead just at the main line and take a look up the lead just to see, and then you call off every one of those leads. So you know the location. So we have a lot of data and records on file that we've used to assist residents when they've called in and said, hey, I got a sewer issue, and then we'll drop the camera in the main line, maybe to look at our main line, take a little peek if we can at their line, but sometimes it assists them in where they might have to start excavating to know the exact location of where their lead comes into the sewer main. So we've used it in that aspect as well. That's an assistive device for residents as well.
Anybody else?
Mayor?
Yes.
I observed Garden City's unit. They have a step van too, I believe, I believe it's a pretty new system. It was at my son's house, and they had a sewer collapse, a sinkhole, and they sent this, in, the tractor in with the camera, and they could rotate that head around and look at each service lead coming in and tell exactly who, what the problem was. My sons, they said, no, yours hasn't collapsed. It's on the brink of it. You're going to, very shortly, but the one across the street's the problem. So these are very important to the city, that we can see, the DPW can see where we're at and what the problems are in these sewers. And quite often the residents, I'm sure, I know I've had a lot of residents say, well, it's out in your main, and it usually isn't. It's usually in their sewer line leading to the main. But we can tell by running this in very quickly whether it's our problem or whether it is the residents' problem. So this system it was amazing to me. The guy sat there in a computer and ran the thing in and rotated around and showed me where all it could look. It's an amazing system. I can see why it is as expensive as it is.
Mayor, can I add one more thing, please?
Sure.
The one thing that I want everybody to just remember is that we have taken we know times are tight, budget's tight, but we have been for years planning ahead for projects like this. This is one of those projects that a couple of years ago was on Ed's list that it was going to need replacement. It's just like the dump trucks or anything else. We don't blindside, we do our best not to blindside the council with any sort of expensive improvements or capital needs. But I can tell you that just from having background in state mandates, and seeing all the emails that Mike and Ed specifically have to deal with this city, they are paying attention. This is not like we're just going in and looking at sewers and then this just goes in file 6. This actually is something that when they send it to the state, they pay attention. I've seen the responses that come back and they want accuracy. So you get it right once and you have the right equipment to do it. The second thing is I don't ever suggest really contracting anything out of the water and sewer fund, because our employees get paid, a lot of our employees get paid, so it does help the general fund, so we can utilize funds in other areas as well. So water and sewer work that gets paid out of the general fund, if we take that work away, it's going to come out of the general fund. And I just want to remind everybody of that. And we're already struggling a bit on that front. But I will tell you, we're very cautious. The team has been very cautious with the water and sewer funds. And again, we budget years ahead for improvements like this. And I'm really glad that Ed was able to get the MMRMA grant, because the RAP grant, 20K is nothing to sneeze at. That's a pretty significant chunk of change that's being taken off the entire total. So definitely don't want to see us lose that. If we pass by tonight, we lose the 20K too. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6D is approval of the model community resolution authorizing execution of Wayne County permits.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions for Ed? Councilman Skiff?
Yes, this is basically just a renewal. We do this every year, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
Anybody else? Roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6E, approval of canceling the regular city council meeting on Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. and call a special meeting for Monday, August 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. due to the primary election.
Move to approve.
Support.
Questions? Roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6F is approval of canceling the regular city council meeting on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. and call a special meeting for Monday, November 2nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. due to the general election.
Move to approve.
Or
Questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Webster,
yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6G, approval of resolution granting special temporary waivers.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Ms. Goen?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Racy, members of council. I come before you this evening once again to talk about something that the team here, the administrative team, is trying to do to assist our business community. We have assembled a group, it's a business economic recovery team, which consists of the mayor, city manager, building and engineering director, myself, the police chief, and the deputy fire chief, fire marshal. This group will be responsible for directly reviewing applications that we are going to allow our restaurants and retail stores to submit. This resolution you are passing tonight would give us the ability to approve granting special waivers to help our restaurants as well as our retail businesses. By helping our restaurants, we would allow, if they meet the criteria as far as where they're located, what they're proposing, if they meet fire code, to have outdoor dining areas outside of what they may normally already have, and expand perhaps maybe into, as example, Bender's or perhaps US 12 or the Avenue into their parking lots. We also incorporated our retail businesses into this. We wanted to give them an opportunity to also perhaps have the opportunity to have some space outdoors for those customers that may not feel comfortable indoors. So if you pass this evening, the team is ready to go. We have a 2-page criteria list put together. We also have application in place. There is no charge for this special permit. If we charged our businesses, it would kind of defeat the purpose of helping our businesses out. I want you to note that there are numerous communities around us that are charging businesses for this, but again, the administration is making recommendation that we do not charge the fees for perhaps the administrative team to review these proposals this evening. I can take any questions the council may have.
Through the chair.
Webster?
First of all, I want to say I'm very happy to hear we're not charging them anything. I think that's a great move, and I agree that defeats the purpose of trying to assist them when they're financially having a hard time right now, I'm sure. But I guess my question is, how are we going to roll this out to the businesses? How are we going to cascade this out so they know what's going on and allow them to, submit a request?
That's a great question. Thank you. I did forget to address that. I apologize. I've already spoken with Lori Morrow, the director of Wayne Main Street. She does have an exhaustive email list of retailers and businesses within the Main Street area. Based on the ones that are not on her email blast list, I will actually be reaching out to those other individuals myself. A majority of the businesses that would take advantage of this are within the Main Street area. So she's been kind enough to agree to help me get this out tomorrow through email.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
you mentioned a 2-page outline on the criteria and some of the details. Could we possibly get a copy of that too, just so we can be helpful and supportive and and is best informed on this. I think a commendable action, get us back into a moving city.
Absolutely, Councilman. I'm doing it right now.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Through the chair.
Yes.
First of all, one of the questions was answered, the criteria. We should have a copy of that in front of us. Secondarily, we have a process in place for this right now. It's the council. And I'm not sure why we're even doing this when we have a process already in place. I think it's very important that the residents are involved in the decision-making process here. Thirdly, what is temporary? Does it expire? Is there an expiration date, etc.?
If he's finished, I can
Yes.
answer. Councilman Miller, it would not be at all wise to put any type of restraint on this. I don't think it's a good idea to make businesses wait to have to go before the zoning board of appeals or the council if it's something that they need to act on right away. As far as the residents being involved, the residents aren't involved when we hold sidewalk sales. This would be nothing different than holding a sidewalk sale for our retail businesses. So I'm not quite sure where that's coming from. In regards to the temporary approval, it shall be in effect for a period of 121 days from the date of the approved resolution, unless it's terminated earlier by action of the city council. So if the governor was to lift all restrictions, and we felt that it was no longer necessary, the administrative team would bring this back to the city council and ask for it to be waived. This is just an attempt to be business friendly, Councilman.
And that time period is under section 3 in the documents that the council received under the resolution. Just in case you missed it.
Thank you.
Yes, through the chair, please. Ms. Goen, I was wondering if you had any idea as to the amount of capacity it will allow the restaurants to operate at. Seeing, because right now they're able to go 50%. With the extension, do you know how much more that's going to be able to add on to that for them?
They still have to comply with the orders. Let me look here. They still have to adhere to social distancing. So let's say if they have 12 interior tables, they could do an additional 3 to 6 tables outside. So it's going to allow for a 25 to 50% increase in table capacity if they're outside, if they have the proper space for it after review. We have to do a review of each location.
Thank you.
Every business is going to be different depending on the size. But you'll get a percentage, like she said. Any other questions? I want to thank the administration for getting this together so quickly. I think this is a very important to do whatever we can to help our business community right now. They're struggling, and as a council, I think that we need to be here to help them and give them any tool necessary. If there's other ideas on how we can help them, I'd love to hear them, because this is very important. I've talked to a few of the businesses, and they said that they would welcome this type of a change and would look at this. So once we approve it, so it's I think could be a really positive thing. I don't know who's going to take who's going to do it, who's not going to do it, but I think it's very good that we're looking at this, and hopefully we pass this to make that happen. I know in other communities, they're doing similar things to make sure that their businesses are successful. I mean, we need, in my opinion, to do everything we can to give our businesses the support they need right now. We don't need to lose any more businesses in our community. And I think that this is something that could help them. So with that, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Porter,
Yes.
Councilman Miller,
No.
Councilman Webster,
Yes.
Councilwoman Skiff,
Yes.
Councilman Wagner,
Yes.
Councilman Dowd,
Yes.
Mayor Racy,
Yes.
motion carries. Item number 7, administration reports.
All right, through the chair. Good
Yes.
evening. I have a few, I'm going to try to whip through these as quickly as possible. First, I just want to clarify, because I know it'll come back and haunt me, just to make sure my comment about paying employees out of the water and sewer fund. I want to be clear that that is work for the water and sewer fund. That's just not for willy-nilly things. It's anything that the employees are doing that has to do with the water and sewer fund. So any water and sewer work. So I just want to make that clear, and I don't want that misconstrued. Secondly, I want to thank you for supporting, those of you who supported the business piece that you just did. Lori has been reaching out to the businesses. I have been talking to the businesses. When I go out to grab lunch or something like that, we're listening to what they're asking us. And what they're asking us is that, you know, to be, give them some feasibility, give them some options, give them some, you know, ideas to help them, you know, figure out how to, you know, stay alive, basically. You know, hopefully we're in phase 4 right now with the pandemic. That doesn't open everything up. That's just, you know, opening things up to a certain point. These businesses have been hit very hard. A lot of them have decided to diversify. Not all of them can diversify, but I do want to thank you for this. This is something that, you know, has been brought to our attention as needed. As the mayor said, this is going on in other communities all over the place. I'm reading about it every single day. Al fresco, I think, is what they're calling it in a sense, correct? And so if you look that up, all across the country, across Michigan, they're doing these things. So I want to thank you. I'm sure the businesses will be really happy to have yet another opportunity. At the last meeting, Susan Rowe had a question about the DDA and Main Street, requesting information about why the DDA did not allegedly provide $25,000 to Main Street. I'm going to have Ms. Gowen answer that question.
Yes, thank you. Through the mayor. If that is not the appropriate body to address the question to, the DDA board itself would be the appropriate body that Mrs. Roche should address her questions to. I would suggest that she call in to the next DDA board meeting, which is on June 10th at 6 p.m. The call-in number is 888-788-0099. The meeting ID is 850-611-6812, and the DDA board would be happy to answer her questions.
Thank you. And I believe this is also on the information is on the board outside in front of City Hall and on the website.
City Hall board out front. Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. Kathy Rockwell had asked through the city clerk if the city council or if the city meetings could, or if the city could post meeting access information on the cable station. That is being done now. Thank you for that recommendation. It's also on the website, Facebook, and in the display board outside of City Hall in the postings area as well. Thank you for that, those recommendations. June 16th at 4 p.m., we're going to do a social distancing groundbreaking for the Wayne Veterans Memorial. The company is scheduled to come out the week of June 22nd to break ground. We don't know if it's Monday or Tuesday, but we want to try to get a groundbreaking. So I did send the council an email. We'll also be sending all the donors an email. And again, social distancing will be adhered to. I would suggest that everybody have a mask on hand, just in case we do end up with a few more people than expected. The city's currently allowing in-person scheduled meetings at City Hall. All visitors are required to wear a facial covering. I know that there's going to be some pushback on that. However, if you've been in City Hall, you realize the City Hall hallway is very small. There is not a lot of space. So we have been working to put protective shields up in front of the city clerk's office, finance, assessing, and all of those areas. However, I'm more concerned right now with the masks because people are going to be passing by each other in that small hallway. We don't have a lot of space to spread out. We're going to have social distancing signage, social distancing feet on the ground, but I would hope that you know, we're going to have to turn people away if they come into City Hall without a mask, and we'll have a mask if they forget. But it is because really we don't have the space that other communities around us do in this City Hall. It's just nearly impossible to not cross each other at less than 6 feet, let alone 2 feet. So we're going to do everything we can to keep everybody safe. So the City Hall will open next Monday. The police department will open, the records department will open as well next week. Buildings and engineering is open and adhering to all social distancing guidelines as well. If you have any questions, feel free to call me at 734-722-2001 if you have any questions. But we'll keep posting everything out on the boards. The hallway has been cleared of any sort of ability to look at flyers or anything else because we are encouraging everyone to still use the Dropbox and to still use online payments as long as possible, especially if you're not comfortable wearing the mask, because again, we're trying to keep the crowds down in City Hall as much as possible. I am working right now on a COVID-19 preparedness plan for the City Hall, DPW with the Assistant Director's help, Ed Queen, and the police chief's help for his department, and this will cover the city buildings that the city manager is responsible for. The library is working on their own plan, and the district court follows the state court administrator's office guidelines. The playscapes are now open per the governor's order, but we do ask that everyone adhere to social distancing requirements. Ed will be putting up a new signs tomorrow, just reminding individuals to socially distance as much as possible. We can't really monitor. We don't have the staffing to monitor, so we're asking for the public's help to just be smart and, just social distance as much as you can, especially from people you don't know. And all of the yellow tape will be removed and has been removed, some of it today, and all of it will be removed tomorrow with the new signage. A couple last few things. Just an update. We had 8 firefighters out since mid-April. We have 4 back still. Testing continues weekly, but 4 are still out. So they'll continue to be tested, and hopefully the other 4 will return soon. Lori, before I go to the chief on his update, Lori has an update on 2 grants that she recently submitted through the Community Development Office. Lori, would you like to share that information?
Yes, thank you. We were invited once again this year to submit a project to Wayne County for Community Development Block Grant funding. This year we submitted, you may remember last year Atwood Park was our project that we submitted and did receive that grant. This year we submitted a grant request in the amount of approximately $79,000. And that grant project would consist of new lighting, the entire stretch of Mill Trail. They would also include trash cans as well as benches for the individuals that utilize that. We're hoping to hear back from the county within the next month. The second grant that I want to thank the city manager for her assistance, and also business owner Kim White Jenkins assisted me with creating some questions. We're applying for a grant. It's called Match on Main. It's the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is allowing DDAs, Main Streets, or economic development corporations to apply for up to $50,000 grant. And the grants are to award to businesses in the community that exhibit a need. We did have to identify businesses and dollar amounts that we would award the businesses prior to submitting the grant. I'm pleased to announce that we did have 13 businesses that expressed interest. 8 of them ended up submitting applications, 2 of which declined because they felt other businesses perhaps were more in need. We did ask for the full $50,000. After doing the scoring matrix, it was determined that all the 8 of the individuals that applied exhibited a very, very similar need. So we are recommending splitting the $50,000 evenly between the 8 businesses should we receive the award. And if I can, Mayor, I just don't think that Councilman Miller is fully understanding what we're trying to do to help the business community. And I just wanted to extend a hand to say that I'd be happy to talk to him and explain to him what we're trying to do for our business community, because I just don't feel like I explained it clearly enough to him. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Clerk, did you have any updates tonight?
Thank you, Lisa. I just wanted to say that, as everyone knows, the applications for absentee ballots were sent out by the state, and I am getting quite a few back, so that's quite encouraging. Also, the applications for the people who have requested previously to be on a permanent absentee voter list, those applications are going out tomorrow. And also, as always, I'm welcoming anyone who would like to work the elections to please turn in an application or give me a call here at the clerk's office, because there is a concern about having enough people to actually work the polls, because with the COVID-19, a lot of the existing election workers are elderly, and there's concerns with them being exposed. So that I am looking for people, always looking for people. So that's pretty much all I have on that.
Okay. And then I'm going to end it with something else, but I wanted to, Chief Strong has some updates this evening, some very important updates that I'd like to give him a few minutes, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm sure everyone has seen the video of the very disturbing incident in Minnesota that led to the death of George Floyd. Like anyone with a conscience, I was horrified and outraged by what I saw. The officer involved was rightfully charged and arrested for homicide. The other officers involved will likely also face criminal charges in addition to being fired. Officers have an absolute duty to intervene when they see their colleagues behaving illegally or unethically. Please understand that this type of incident in no way reflects the values of the Wayne Police Department. A core value of the Wayne Police Department is treating everyone we encounter with respect and dignity. If we ever fall short of treating people with respect and dignity, we'll make every effort to make it right. So I'd like to give a real quick overview of some of the things we do here at Wayne PD to monitor use of force and make sure that officers are properly trained. Officers receive regular training in defensive tactics, which is essentially how to handle physical interactions with citizens safely. Defensive tactics training includes an emphasis on de-escalation and safe application of physical force when necessary. Officers receive periodic additional training, both online and in person, on communication, de-escalation, and dealing with mental health emergencies. We voluntarily report serious use of force incidents to the Federal Bureau of Investigation on a monthly basis. We have a detailed policy related to proper use of force. We thoroughly review all use of force incidents. We have a formal procedure for citizen complaints, and all complaints are investigated thoroughly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. And just to wrap up, I have been remiss to thank Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and her staff. The city of Wayne for many, many, many years has, I would say, had been ignored by Congress. And since Congresswoman Tlaib has been in office, I know that Mayor Racy, you've been working very closely with her, and I've had a chance to participate on calls. She doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. And she is pushing very hard and taking all of our recommendations and pushing them forward. And a lot of them are already being considered in stimulus bills. And just so you're aware, I know that there's a lot of pushback and controversy on the new stimulus bill, HEROES Act, coming out. However, I want everybody to understand, if this HEROES Act goes through, there is a little over $5 million, about $5.7 million, sitting in that fund for the city of Wayne. If this goes through, I think it's around 5.7 million in year one that we would get right away, that we could help offset some of our MERS and a few of our challenges. That money is going to be spent wisely so that we can dig our way out of where we're at as much as possible. In year two, we just get over a little bit over $2 million. So, it may impact us all later on. This is money that's going to every community. I feel, we don't have a lot of choices. Our hands are tied right now. And so I know that there are some hard feelings about spending more money in this country, but right now we don't have a lot of options. Our taxpayers don't have a lot of options. It's a ripple effect that's just continuing to impact everyone. So I would just recommend that if you don't agree with it, I understand it, but if we push against it, there's a chance the city could lose an influx of $5.7 million to help us pay some of these bills to get us back on track. That could be the desperate, card that we need to play right now in order to protect the citizens from getting hammered in their checkbook. If it doesn't happen, we're going to be, sitting in dire straits for a very long time, as the MERS report discussed last time around. So I want to thank Congresswoman Tlaib. Mayor, thank you as well, because I know you've been on those calls when I haven't been on those calls, and continuing to push everywhere we can. And I appreciate every member of council. If you are doing that, I'm not aware of it, but if you are pushing, thank you. Thank you for pushing and being supportive of these bills, because they are definitely going to stimulate the city and have an ability to help us fix some really broken processes that have been around for over a decade. City Attorney's Office, did you have anything to add tonight, Mike?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, Mayor, thank you for the time. I want to thank the staff and I want to thank everybody for their support. There's a lot of good things coming. We have to keep our heads up. This has been rough, but we're gonna get through it. So thank you for your time this evening.
Hey,
That
did
doesn't
Jody
do
have
anything.
anything for your report?
I
She's
didn't
on
hear
the,
an email.
okay, she,
I have to go under, I didn't hear anything, so.
okay, okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Jody, I'd be happy to give an update on the library if you would.
That's fine.
Um,
Go ahead, Jody.
I didn't know she was on the phone, sorry.
No,
no,
I could see her, that's why I asked.
So as you all know, the executive order yesterday isn't going to allow libraries to open earlier than we'd anticipated. So we are busy getting things ready. We are expecting and hoping that we'll be able to start offering pickup service, basically like takeout for books and movies, mid-month. And I will update with more specific dates and hours of service as soon as we have that all figured out. We'll also be hosting a summer reading program this year, as we do every year. It's going to look a little different than previous years. There's going to be a lot more activities that people can do online, at home, as takeout kits from the library. Information about summer reading and links to sign up and do all your tracking online is already available on the library's website. And we did actually just launch a brand new redesigned website. It's hopefully a lot easier to use, a lot cleaner, and it's got a great new interactive events calendar. So you can see everything that we've got coming up. We have multiple events every week throughout the summer. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Go ahead with the agenda.
Public comments for matters not on the agenda pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act and the enacted procedures and rules of City Council. Now is the time for public comment. Any questions will not be answered this evening. The appropriate person will make their best effort to respond by the next council meeting or as soon as possible, provided you state or leave your contact information with the city clerk. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay.
I did have, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I did have one phone call from Miss Rockwell, who just wanted to let council know she appreciates the agenda being put on the public access station.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the attendees that wishes to speak at this time? If so, please raise your hand in the attendee room. Okay. I can't tell who this person is. It's LGK20 plus. Hello. Or nope. Are they muted or-
Okay, I apologize. This is Miriam Katie.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi, how are ya?
Great.
Good. It's good to see everybody's faces. Thank you for allowing me, Mayor and City Council and Administration. I appreciate it. I just wanted to make just a courtesy comment about Relay for Life, Westland Wayne Relay for Life this year. Unfortunately, like so many other things, it's been postponed for the June 6th, June 7th date. And but we've been having very many, quite a few virtual meetings with the Southeast Michigan chapter of American Cancer Society and also with our local lead team on trying to see what it's going to look like in the future coming up here. We don't want to cancel it. We are trying to possibly think about a fall date. You know, as important as the virus is, cancer doesn't stop. So there's so many people that are hurting, and our fundraising is down about 85% through the American Cancer Society. So it's hurting so many avenues with people that are suffering with cancer right now. So we're being very mindful, but we are going to probably try to do a few different fundraising and things like that of people that can contribute, but we want to let people know that they're not forgotten and we're going to keep continuing fighting. And I just wanted to make a personal call to you, and I'll keep you updated. That's about it. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me, but I appreciate you allowing me to speak, and I'm glad I listened to your whole meeting too.
Okay. Thanks, Miriam.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.
Anybody else have a comment or question? Anybody else? Seeing none, let's go ahead and move the agenda.
Comments from members of City Council.
Councilman Webster.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first of all, I want to offer my condolences to Councilman Miller for the loss of his mother. I know that even though she was 93, correct?
Yes, well, 92.
92. Even though she led a good long life, it's never easy to lose anyone, regardless of the age. So, you have the condolences of myself and my family.
Thank you.
And on some positive news, Councilman Dowd welcomed a granddaughter into the world. So I want to congratulate him. She's beautiful. I've seen pictures that you posted up. So that's some welcome news in light of everything that's been going on over these past couple weeks. All I really want to say about that is I seen a quote today, and I'm not sure who it was from, but the gist of it was stop lecturing and start listening. And that's really what we need to do is really listen to each other. I've seen friends and family members and other people just online just brutalizing each other because they have a different opinion. This is a time we need to come together and listen to each other and try and understand and not tear each other down, but come together, because there's so many terrible things going on right now. We're dividing ourselves instead of coming together and figuring out a way to make things better. So, just listen, show compassion for your fellow man. That's all I really have to say. So with that, I will pass.
Okay. Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Racy. Councilman Webster, I share in your thoughts there. This country needs a lot of prayers right now. But I have to think about the good things that are still happening in our communities and in our lives. And I think it's been overshadowed because of all the distressing news that we need to remind ourselves that the graduates at Wayne Memorial, we have to, they had a difficult year. It's been a different graduation year for them, I should say. But I don't want that to change the fact that our pride still continues with our graduates. And I just want to wish them to hold on to your dreams, continue to pursue life to the fullest. And this is a new chapter for these graduates, and I wish them truly the very best. I also had a chance to go and visit the former old library, and Mr. Palladino was kind enough to give me a tour. And I just wanted to express and let the community know that incredible progress is happening in that building. And I know it's been a while since council was part of that process there, but it is still on board, and looking forward to the opening day. He's enjoying it, working with it and doing it, and we just want to continue to support him on his endeavors, because this is going to be another great landmark for our downtown. And lastly, I don't know, I can't say enough how much I thank everybody in this community. On behalf of my sister, my two brothers, for the kindness that has been expressed to us, for the neighbors in my neighborhood that made the last 3 years of my life with my mother here very joyful. If it wasn't the Historical Museum or the events at the concerts in the park or the garden club or a Christmas parade. It was all you that helped make those memories for me joyful. And I can't tell you enough how much I truly thank you for that. You know, we are at peace. My family is at peace. My mother is at peace. She lived a really good, full life. And we know she's shining down on us and she's happy. And we are happy where she's at today. You know, she had an amazing, great life long before I was even born. And it was really a celebration of a life that cherished faith and family. And I appreciate all that you have shared with me. Thank you.
Councilman Dowd.
I had to unmute myself. I was having some coughing problems and I didn't cause any problems. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
I just want to start with thanking Chief Strong. Really great to, and I'm sure for those that are on and listening and watching, hear our chief come through and say something that is a strong policy on our city. I think it came across at the right time, and I truly hope everybody can echo that throughout the city, that what one does not carry forward to another and another and another. You know, these last couple of weeks, we've gone through a lot of amazing things. We've put some people in space, and now we're slowly coming out of what is, I think, for the most part, a very hysterical time with this COVID-19. And it's going to get more confusing because as we loosen things, interpretation for what is now, it's interpretation. It's not as black and white. And it's not, I'm sure everybody watched and read and looked for the parts and pieces that made sense to their own lifestyle. And we're not there. And we're not going to be there for quite some time. And so it's going to take patience and good, solid communication. And certainly I know Lisa and the team are always going to put forward good, solid communication. And that's going to be the key for us to have the least amount of stress at the retail, I'd say at the business level. So I think this temporary committee is a good thing because it acts as a positive, fluid way to react what our governor is going to be saying and what she's going to be rolling out. And when you've got a business and you've sat so long and you're not going to be patient, you're going to be impatient. And we need that gasket to take the ease off of that impatience and help them return to be successful and to be heard and listened to. So I also want to, Councilman Miller, the passing of your mother, it's never an easy thing, but your family was very blessed to have a matriarch for, wow, a long, long time. And she passed on May 20th, I believe, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And I'm just going to hit you with, hopefully this comes across. This was born on May 20th. So where she's not your mother's name, she does have a unique name. Zaylin Moon McAvoy, born May 20th, 2020. That'll pass.
Councilman Wagner.
Thank you. Again, I'll reiterate what Councilman Dowd said. Thank you, Chief, for your words during this time. I think we needed those. Also, Councilman Miller, my deepest condolences. I've heard that the passing of a parent is something you never get over. I don't have any words of comfort for you. All I can say is I'm grieving with you, and I think the community is grieving with you as well. Thank you.
Councilwoman Skiff.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'm just gonna also, Councilman Miller, just say what you've been hearing from other council members as well. My condolences on the loss of your mother. You know, my grandmother is 90 years old. She was not as quite as old as your mother yet, and it's crazy to me thinking that my grandma is 90 and your mom was 90 something. So just really incredible. So sounds like a life well lived, and I can see that she must have really known how to love, because I can tell she was very dear to you. So I'm sorry for your loss. And Councilman Dowd, of course, congratulations on the new grandbaby. So exciting. Now we got maybe your granddaughter and Councilman Webster's little boy can hang out someday. Maybe they'll be in class together. I don't know.
Not until she's 26.
Okay, very well. That's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. I want to thank the DPW this weekend for taking care of a water main break that was on Berry Street. It was quite the gusher, I can tell you. I went over there and tried to clear out a drain, and it was up to my knees. So quite the gusher, and they were there pretty much all day. They got there early in the morning, a little after 8, and they were all there all day. I went for a walk later on, like around 7 or 8 o'clock, and I saw their vehicles pulling out. So it was a long day for them. I appreciate it. I know that the residents in my ward appreciate it. I wish I was still here on the line so I could tell them to say thank you, but hopefully somebody's watching from the DPW and I'll get the message to them. I just want to also welcome Abe Char Howard to the DDA tonight. I hope that, you know, the next 2 years are very rewarding for you. And if it's something that you continue, that you enjoy, I hope that you'll also ask to be reappointed as well. I guess I just wanted to close just to say a little bit also about what's going on right now around us in our world, in our country. I remember at the beginning of the year, for New Year's, I had spoke about a Christmas truce of 1914. And at the time, I remember just kind of encouraging the community, maybe, you know, if, because we were moving into an election year. It's hard to believe that's something that's not even really being talked about right now, that we're in an election year. On top of everything that's going on, we're in an election year. So, except for Tina. I'm sorry, Tina. You haven't.
I'm talking about it.
Yes, you are. I'm sorry. But not much talk otherwise, like, you know, just amongst friends or social media or anything like that. You know, but and I just encourage people, you know, maybe as a community, even though we are entering into an election year, just maybe, you know, we could set an example and just be different than those around us as far as the way that we respond to each other and we treat one another during this time, not knowing that a few months later we'd be in the middle of a pandemic, and also just a lot of chaos going on in our country. So I'm sorry. Tonight I just wanted to read a quote of Martin Luther King's that I'm sure many of you have read and that are seeing online. It just words that have surpassed just time in so many different ways. I'll just go ahead and read them to you. It says, returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So I guess I just would like to say to members of our communities, the residents in our communities, maybe if we can just meditate on what Martin Luther had to say and just remember that in order for us to overcome the darkness that we're experiencing right now, we need to be light. And in order to overcome hate, we have to love. And I hope that all of us will take up, that call in our own personal lives and strive to do that towards one another. And with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank Chief Strong for his statement this evening. It was very profound, and I think we all agree with him. I'm very glad for the training and the way our police department handles the training, and thank you, Chief Strong, for that. Councilman Miller, I can't share in the grief that you have, but I will feel my own when I don't see your mother at various functions, when I got to walk up and talk to her and say hello. You have our deepest condolences from my family. To add on to what Kelly said just a little bit, Councilwoman Skiff, I would ask each council person, as a council person, and as a person in the community, consider what we can do to help eliminate this racism, and what can we do to include, however you want to call it, people of color. You see the makeup of our council, you see the makeup of almost all of our committees and commissions, and I would like to somehow ask that we get a little more diversified in our own makeup here in the city. And I know it takes them volunteering, but what I'm asking is for each of you to consider asking these people if they will join us, not as outcasts, but join us as a team here in our city. That's all for one. Thank you.
Thank you. I too want to pass my condolences to Councilman Miller for my wife and I. We're very sorry for your loss of your mother. I lost my grandmother back in '92, and it's never the same. And so I only have the experience of losing a grandparent, and I know what that feels like. I can't imagine what losing a parent feels like. So, so we definitely we're very sorry for your loss. I want to echo what the city manager said about Congresswoman Tlaib. She is working very hard for us. I've been on numerous calls with her, and when she's talking in front of other cities, she's talking about the city of Wayne, and she's talking about in Congress about the city of Wayne, and she told me that blueprint of what's going on. There's a couple of the communities that she's told me she's very impressed with the effort that is coming out of our city, and the cooperation and the communication between our city and her office. She said she wished more communities were like ours and be able to share their concerns and what they need, because it helps her be able to do her job. And so we've had a very good relationship there, and I'm very happy with her effort in working to help our community. I did have a phone call from Beaumont tonight, and they just wanted me to make everybody aware that they're now at all their services are back at the hospital. They are now a level 3 trauma center as of yesterday, and the ICU is back. It's going to take a little bit to get the staffing levels to where they are as the need happens, but it's slowly moving in to get it to full capacity again. But all the services are back to what we lost. So that's a very, very good news. I also want to thank the chief for his comments that very needed tonight. want to thank the protesters that are actually doing it peacefully. And that's the example that change happens. Destruction doesn't bring change, but peaceful protest and people coming together, that's how change happens. And I appreciate the people that are doing protesting the right way. I want to thank everybody that came together. I got home, I think it was Saturday night. Councilwoman Skiff called me, and I just walked in, and she asked me if I saw on Facebook about the missing child we had in the city, and I hadn't been to my computer, and I looked and went out with there was numerous residents that went out trying to find the child, but just want to thank our fire and police department for their efforts in finding the child. It came together pretty quickly, and all the residents that just because it was there, they saw the need and wanted to go and help, and that's great to have that kind of a community that they're there to help at a moment's notice. Very, very, very cool. And I want to thank Tina, our city clerk. She added, if you noticed on our council agendas, it actually has the call-in number now right on the agenda for people. So if you lose whatever paperwork, you have that ID number as an address for the meetings. I thought that was something that would just one more level of transparency that it's there. So I thank you for taking care of that. And I've talked to numerous businesses, business owners, and they are struggling. There's some concern whether they stay open or not. And so I'm glad. Thank you everybody for passing the resolution that we did tonight. It's very important to give our business owners, to let them know that we care about them and that we're in their corner and trying to do whatever we can to make them successful in the midst of all this. And we still have businesses that are still closed that are not able to open. Just two off the top of my head are Hype with the recreation center. They're able to do some outdoor things, but and then you also have the State Wayne that they can't open yet, and you got barbers and hair salons. I mean, there's still a lot of businesses that are still being affected they're going to need help in the coming months. And I know the State Wayne, I saw tonight, if you want to go out and to help them, you can go out and buy a gift certificate, and you get a certificate for a free large popcorn. I think it's a $25 gift certificate for movies. You get a free large popcorn voucher when you turn those in. But anything like that, where you can buy gift cards if you have the available cash to do that, anything to help, I know that is greatly appreciated. I also heard that the US 12 is going to be doing in the month of June. They got some different fundraising efforts they're going to do to try to help the champions of Wayne that aren't able to have their normal fundraiser this year at this time, and their banquet and everything, to make sure that they're successful in the coming year for the next year. But it's devastating a lot of people with everything that's going on. And I got a chance to be over the high school today and met the valedictorians and salutatorians, and the high school is trying to do whatever they can to make the graduation as good as they can, based on the governor's order. And I hope people in the community, I know that not everybody's happy that graduation is not what they expect, but I feel sorry for the school board and the administrators, everybody over there. They want to do something more than they can. They're just trying to obey the governor's order and trying to plan something to make it safe for everybody. So I want to thank them for their efforts trying to go out and plan stuff. I know that they're having a meeting tomorrow to try to improve what they've done, because the orders have changed since they've started planning, and so they may be able to do a little bit more. But congratulations to the graduates. I actually had one of the graduates, he was doing a podcast. I don't know if I've mentioned this, and he contacted me and wanted to talk for his podcast about what was happening, you know, in the community. But it was getting it from a high school perspective of trying to interview type of thing. And got some really great kids that are coming out of Wayne. This particular kid's going to be going to Vanderbilt in Nashville. And, you know, he's concerned, you know, with what having to leave home and everything. Now, what you see in the news, what happened in Nashville in the last couple of days. So there's a lot of concern. I encourage people to be praying for our community. I encourage people to be praying for our state. I encourage people to be praying for our country and our world. I mean, this is some really crazy stuff going on right now. And we all need to come together and work together to make this a better place. And on a later note, I just want to say I am able to cut my own hair, so I'm able to you guys are able to do that. So I have no issues there. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a great night.